Hello, I think we're live. Well, hello guys, welcome back to a very long-awaited video from this Polymer Clay. If you joined me last time, I think it was a couple of weeks ago now, but if you missed any of that, it is still available on the channel. And I've also done an edited version for you guys to check out. But today we're going to be we're going to be carrying on with this picture here. We'll be making out our Polymer Clay. If you remember what we did last time I used this like a Spider-Man figure, which I made out of, what's it called? Plaster Paris. But that one kind of got and started to break. So what I started to do is use that as the core and create and put some sort of Polymer Clay over it and made a face for it, made some arms, covered up the arms and stuff, made a little tail, as you can see here. I will be putting the wings, as you can see in this picture here. Hopefully you can see it in this camera here, because I've got two cameras. I am recording this on the PS4 once again, so you guys get to see it in a different angle. Like I said, you'll be able to see it if you're watching on YouTube here live. But if you're going to watch it back, you'll be able to see all the different angles and how I'm actually going to be doing this, because I know that some of the angles that are on this camera here, on the live camera, is a little bit dodgy. So that's why I record, so you get to see sort of more detail on how I'm actually doing everything, and a little bit closer and a little bit sped up as well, because I know this is going to be about 50 minutes to an hour that I'm going to be sort of streaming today, because it's quite hot. This clay might get a bit too tacky, so I might have to sort of give it a rest and do a little bit more later, which I will record so you guys can check it out. But we're going to be getting on where we left off from last time. We're going to warm this clay up, and like I was saying, made a little staff like he has in the picture here, or as he has in the picture here, and I'll be doing all of this on the PS and stuff like that. I haven't been live for a while, so if I sound a bit and whatever, then that is why. But yeah, we're back, we're live, and we're here on YouTube. If you're new to the channel, my name's Blut084, BLUT084, Art and Games, and I'm here every single day on YouTube, occasionally on Mixer, but every day and night over on TikTok and Instagram if you want to have a chat. But if you want to chat today, you can leave some stuff in the live stream and chat to me there. I am going to be listening to some more Comic Historian. If you're not familiar with Comic Historian, they are a wide range of comics read to you with a little bit of theatric speaking and explaining on different characters. I've picked Angel, the mutant from the Marvel series. If you don't know about that, you're going to find out very, very soon who that is as I get on and get some clay done. I am going to be using my certain tools and certain things as we go along. I'll try and tell you what I'm using each time, but you can realize what I'm using. But if you're not familiar with the clay that I'm using, it's Polymer Clay, not air drying clay. Air drying clay is okay, but I'm not too fond of air drying clay, purely because it just dries out and it ends up going all crumbly, and I don't like it. Whereas Polymer Clay is very, 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 very similar to maybe what's it stuff called, like Play-Doh, but not Play-Doh for children, more sculpting clay, more things like that. But if you put this in the oven, it will bake it. It'll go completely hard. So as you can see here, this is as hard as the plaster Paris now. I won't wiggle it around too much because I don't want to break any pieces off, but it is fairly durable. You can kind of give it a little bit of a wiggle and a tug and things like that. But I would definitely recommend using Polymer Clay. This is Fimo. If you've never used Polymer Clay before, it's one of the cheapest brands, and it's very good to start out with if you're not familiar with the brand or not familiar with Polymer Clay itself. I would recommend getting Fimo. And I'm trying to find the other packet. It comes in two give me a sec. It comes in two packets. It comes in tiny little packets like this. Fimo soft. I would definitely get soft as well, because it takes a lot less time to warm it up, because you don't need any kind of extra tools. Because with like professional, high quality Polymer Clay, you will need a rolling machine, something like a pasta machine, to condition the clay with. Whereas Fimo soft, it's pretty much instantly soft as soon as you start playing with it a little bit. It gets nice and easy and nice and moldable. But it is quite hot, so we'll see how that works out for us today. I'm going to be chopping bits and bobs of this. This actually has lasted me, you can see over there on the camera, on the PlayStation camera there. Over there, it's lasted me quite a few different creations so far. So I'm going to see how far this will go. But I am going to be making just the clothes today. I'm just putting the clothes on that you saw in the picture there, and then I'll do some wings at a later date because I'm trying to do the stages of this, and I know wings is going to take me quite a bit of time to create. Just on the sort of idea of using wings, I've got to use make a core for those and all sorts of different things. So I'll kind of probably work out how I'm going to do the core, but not make the wings today and just do the clothing. Anyway, let's get on with some comic storying, and I'll get on with some clay making. Again, you can leave some comments in the comment bar, and enjoy.
Would you consider growing wings a curse or a gift?
The comic storying comics. Got any suggestions of comics?
Welcome to Origins.
Let me know.
Over the origins
pretty sure I can find it.
And villains. Today we're going to be going over another mutant for Mutant Mondays. In this video, we'll be finishing up the original X-Men roster, which can be seen in Brian Bendis' run, All New X-Men, which we plan to cover very soon. But enough about the future, this is about the past. And it's all about the history of Warren Worthington III, better known as Angel. The wealthy Worthington family resides in Centerport, New York, where he was raised by Catherine and Warren Worthington Jr. Like most wealthy children, young Warren was sent off to a boarding school to receive the best possible education. And this school was the Phillips Exeter Academy, where Warren's mutant powers began to manifest in the form of small, tiny wings sprouting from his shoulder blades. At first, it was something that he could easily cover up, but the wings grew over time, as you would assume, and he learned that they were going to be a problem in his everyday life, especially since he thought that the wings couldn't do anything. One fateful day, a fire broke out in the dormitories, and Warren wanted to help, but he didn't want anyone to know about his freakish wings. So he ransacked the costume department of the drama club, and he donned the clothes of a long blonde-haired angel in heavenly robes. With his wings, he soon discovered that he had the power of flight, and he was easily able to save his fellow student body from certain peril. The altruistic feelings of helping people caused Warren to strike out on his own as an adventurer, where he created a superhero persona calling himself the Avenging Angel. His individualistic nature meant that he would act on his own and save people and defeat the would-be criminals. He did this for a short time using his finances to develop his own crime-fighting technology. However, it would not be long before his heroic antics would draw the attention of the newly formed X-Men. Professor Xavier would send his newest recruits, Cyclops and Iceman, in an attempt to recruit Warren. At first, he was resistant because he preferred to work alone. His rebellious nature and his cocky persona kept him from being a great team player. As usual, leave it to Professor X to lead the plight of the mutants to the young rebellious team. It wouldn't take much to convince the Avenging Angel to simply become Angel, and he agreed to join the X-Men. Angel's primary mutation is the power of natural flight. Warren has also inherited many characteristics of birds. He has hollow bones, and his eyes are resistant to air rushing into them. He can also easily breathe air at higher altitudes. Not only can he fly, but he's also an accomplished martial artist from training in the danger room. His mutation provides with a superhuman physique, giving him all of the advanced abilities of strength, agility, and reflexes. This makes Angel an important member of any superhero team. So there you have it, the fly-by-night origin of Warren Worthington III. Not all mutants begin their careers in a heap of trauma, but trust me, as things only go downhill for Angel, as we will find out in future stories. So what do you think of Angel? Let us know in the comments down below, and if you got some spare time, check out these other videos on the screen. You just might like them.
You just might like them. You might just like. So yeah, so what I just did there was flatten out the clay with just a box standard like kids toy. What you get with Play-Doh, you know, those squeezable toy things with whatever. Yeah, you will need a roller. You can flatten out with your hands, but you get a nice even roll when you use a roller and things. I always use a roller. And again, if you're going to condition it, you would need something like this. There's some oil in there. Roll it in, turn it over, swish it up, do it again, do it again, do it again, do it again until it's soft as this is now. But no, we're going to be. What else should we listen to? What else have we got? We've got Beast of Gold, Ghost Rider, Blue Beetle. Ooh, let's have a bit of Blue Beetle, shall we? And I'll carry on with after.
Who is the Blue Beetle?
We're not going to go about this. I think I'll do the trousers first.
Series, right? Take great paperbacks and take issues that are break them down and then adjust my life to help you understand. That outrageous dramatic connect to you. All alterations in the panel, sex, and images are to prevent copyright problems and all artists are matches fake companies. This is a rebirth. a DC rebirth. It is not a reboot, it is a new status quo as DC brings back the things that you loved about your favorite superheroes and puts them back into an existing timeline. We're going to be showcasing select issues of the rebirth to let you know the starting points for these series. Each of these rebirth comics is continuing the mainline book of the same name. This is Blue Beetle Rebirth. Jaime Reyes leads a typical life, one with both his parents and a sister who finds him disgusting. He walks out of his house to the sight of two of his friends. All three of them begin to walk to school, debating on what the term bless you means, and if it could be potentially offensive. They are just three typical kids until Jaime gets a phone call from Ted Cord of Cord Industries. Jaime tries to tell him that he's going to be late for school again if he does anything to Ted, but Ted doesn't care and he informs Jaime, "I'll just write you a note. Now get moving. I need you." Jaime continues to try to argue because he really needs to get to school, but Ted tells him that there's a problem downtown. Jaime asks him how he knows about this, and Ted explains that he has a police scanner in their new mobile Beetle base. It's like their Batcave. Oh, and the villains have outright called the Blue Beetle out. Sounds like your old foes are calling you out, Jaime. And Jaime informs him that he has no old foes. Ted, getting irritated, starts to talk to him about it, and then eventually he decides he'll just take the Beetle base and go do this on his own. Well, of course, Jaime isn't going to let regular old Ted Cord stop this. So he tells his friends to make up an excuse for him, and he activates the scarab on his back. It wraps around his body and it changes him into the Blue Beetle before he takes off into the sky. Over at the $1 coffee stand, cars are wrecked and light poles are bent as the villains are holding hostages while drinking a cup of coffee. Ted brings the Blue Beetle base over to the coffee shop and they point out that these villains wrote "Bring Blue Beetle" into the cement and they misspelled Beetle with B-E-T-L-E. Jaime leaps out asking Ted, "What should I do?" Just walk over there, and Ted cuts him off telling him, "Sounds like a plan." But Jaime can't help but think, says the guy safely in the giant bug. He walks in the hole that the villains created asking, "What's up?" And they respond by hitting the hostages. Ted sees this, telling him, "Kid, what are you waiting for? An invitation? Get in there!" And that's when the villains throw a bridge at Jaime. They then grab him from behind, so the scarab lets out a jolt, throwing the yellow villain into the sky. The purple one grabs Jaime by the throat and begins to strangle him, asking him, "Is this it? Because this is simple." Realizing Jaime is dying, the scarab overrides his commands to keep it simple, and it forms a gun on his hand and it opens fire on the purple guy, throwing him into the ground, which knocks a wall over and the wall is about to fall on the hostages. Luckily, Jaime creates beetle wings on his back to catch the falling rubble, and the hostages run free. Then, yellow and purple each grab an arm and try to pull Jaime apart, so he throws him into the ground so hard that he breaks apart, showing that they were robots? At first, Jaime begins to feel bad, but then the pieces begin to fight against him. Random hands, arms, and chunks of some guy's chest. So he forms a mace on his hand and he smashes them into even smaller pieces until the random hands and feet become too much. Realizing the kid is in trouble, Ted activates the mobile Beetle's offensive capabilities, blowing up the rest of the building. The villains see that Jaime isn't alone, so they make a quick getaway. And Jaime tells Ted, "I'm fine, I made it." The two of them head back to Cord Industries to talk about Jaime's future as a superhero, one called the Blue Beetle, except that Jaime doesn't want it. He wants the scarab removed from his back, and he tells Ted to help him in doing that. But Ted would rather make superhero gadgets and make them both superheroes. Jaime tries to tell him again that he doesn't want to play Batman and Robin, but Ted isn't listening as Jaime leaves. Once he's alone, a puff of smoke happens and a bit of magic appears in the air. As Dr. Fate walks into the lab to inform Ted that the scarab that he thinks is alien isn't alien. It's a magical scarab, and if they're going to explore what it is, they're going to need Dr. Fate's help. Now this starts the whole Blue Beetle thing completely over again. But hopefully we'll get a much better storyline with Blue Beetle that people actually enjoy and they buy and the story keeps going. Let me know what you think of Blue Beetle in the comments down below, and don't forget to follow me on Twitter and Instagram for my story, and I'll see you next time right here.
Yeah.
The scale of
Shut up. Teen Titans is next.
We meet a new Teen Titans. Let's have Damian Wayne lead. This is the Comic Story and Complete Story series. We take your favorite comic books and break them down into digestible bites, allowing for a quick and speedy recap. But if we just did that, it would be boring. So we bring it back to you read dramatically with funny voices and epic music. All alterations to the panels, text, and images are to prevent copyright problems, and all art is owned by its respective companies. Titans. Our story begins on Damian Wayne's 13th birthday, as he sits at Wayne Manor blowing out his candles. As Alfred cuts him a slice of cake, Damian says that it's like all of his other birthdays. His father isn't even around to enjoy it. Alfred tells him that he's afraid the Justice League calls. But why doesn't he care for the company of others his own age? Master Richard and Master Tim have the Teen Titans. Damian just sits there, and Alfred asks, "What did you wish for?" Damian smiles, telling him that even if he told him, it wouldn't come true. As time passed, Damian now finds himself standing in the Batcave with Goliath, telling everyone that they have just proven themselves inferior to a 13-year-old boy. He'd expected better, because you see in the original Rebirth issue, which I will link down below, Damian captured Raven, Beast Boy, Starfire, and Kid Flash, and they're all hanging in restraints in front of Damian. Beast Boy then says that they were kind of expecting someone taller. Damian smiles. "It must hurt to know that I studied you, found your weaknesses, and exploited them so easily." Wally shouts that he's grateful for the rant, which is both annoying and insightful, but he really doesn't know him or anyone else here for that matter. But before he can go any further, what the hell is that thing? Goliath, the giant man-bat creature hanging out with Damian, that he uses as a pet kind of teammate kind of situation, snorts back at Wally. And Damian says that this is his associate, Goliath. He's rather friendly unless he's told to bite the head off of someone. After that, Goliath licks Wally's face, and Beast Boy shouts that he's partners with a giant looking bat thing. And here he thought that he worked his way through the animal kingdom only to find out that there was a cellar beneath the zoo that he didn't know about. Raven looks over at Starfire and says that she can't teleport them right now, but she can sense the anger pouring off of Starfire. And Starfire shouts that he may have their powers, but they still have their strength. She rips the restraints down, shouting that he should know that they are no one's prisoner. And as everyone gets free, they all charge at Damian while Beast Boy handles Goliath, who just punched Beast Boy so hard that he turned into an octopus so that he doesn't destroy whatever he's being thrown into, which happens to be Wally. Raven then tells everyone to just leave the pet to her. Clearly, he's too tired to fight them. And then she waves her arms and Goliath slowly begins to stop and fall asleep. Wally then tells Damian that this is probably going to be a good time to explain himself, and Starfire adds, "and apologize." Damian just smiles, stating, "See, individually you're all weak, but together we could be strong. So unless I'm wrong, which I never am, this is the making of a superhero team." Wally then asks, "Who does this kid think he is?" Damian tells him, "I'm Robin, son of Batman, and this is the new Teen Titans." Beast Boy begins to shout, "Oh, no, 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 you may dress like Robin, but you are no Tim Drake." Damian goes on asking Beast Boy if he'd like to be an actual hero, instead of just playing one in front of a camera, because there is a reason that he took him. Seriously, all of them, in fact. Beast Boy then says that if he's looking for a team-up, he should actually go ask his actual friends. Damian turns away, stating, "Actually, I don't have any friends. Not with the kind of life that I've lived. Recently, I've turned 13, which is supposed to be the worst year of my life, but instead I wanted to make it the best. No matter what you have or haven't done, who your family is or not, none of that matters. What matters is that you are assigned your history, and you decide your future." Damian continues stating that him and Tim Drake have their differences, but he will be the first to admit that Tim Drake was amazing. But they could be better, so join him. In fact, he dares them to join him. Everyone turns around and smiles, and Beast Boy says, "Pro tip, when trying to make friends, go less kidnapping and more with the foot rubs." Starfire then tells them that there's one problem. Why would they even follow someone like him? And Damian holds up an image of all of them, stating that if they don't, they're going to be dead. Back on his birthday, he got many gifts, but there was one in particular that stood out. It was a dead Robin and a letter from his grandfather, Ra's al Ghul, the leader of the League of Assassins, telling him that it was time to come back to Infinity Island. The last step of his Demon's Fist graduation is to kill them all. You see, after he received his grandfather's present, his mother came to tell him that he has been marked. She wanted him to return to the island to leave, but if he doesn't, there are 5 assassins who have just all received their targets. A short while later, over in San Francisco, everyone begins to ask where they are, and Damian tells them that they are somewhere safe and far away from their home cities, where they would otherwise be hunted. They are currently being pursued by a group known as the Demon's Fist. The Demon's Fist is a group of assassins presided over by Ra's al Ghul himself. They've been brainwashed to kill everyone here. Before their final graduation on becoming a full member, they must kill a target of their choice, and everyone here has been chosen. These people see them as rivals, though they will not admit it. Their targets represent everything good and hopeful that is missing from their lives. Each member of Demon's Fist all have powers that in a way are similar to each of these members of the new Teen Titans. Raven then says that there's something else he's hiding, some kind of a conflict inside of him, one where he would have a choice to walk 2 very different paths. Damian shouts for her to get out of his head. She doesn't know a thing about him. And Starfire tries to calm Damian down, saying how someone who is destined for great things deserves to believe in himself, though they are not there. So maybe he can help convince them. Damian wonders if they are even trying to convince themselves if he's even worth listening to, but the choice is simple. They either fight together as a team or they each die alone. and a voice then comes up. There's a third option, and Mara and the rest of the Demon's Fist assassins jump in, stating, "You can die together." Beast Boy laughs, saying, "It looked like the little tyrant was telling the truth. Actually, I'm a bit flattered that someone would think that I'm important enough to kill." He then jumps towards the shapeshifter Blank, asking who is he. Beast Boy pins him down, and Blank says that he really hates the sight of himself, right? How about he changed into that? Or better yet, how about they play fallen heroes? While Starfire then fights off a stone in his super strength, Plague reaches out for Raven, telling her that she just wants to shake her hand. Plague's power is that whatever she touches will become diseased and rot away, no matter the surface. Meanwhile, Nightstorm chases after Wally, using his abilities to manipulate the weather to throw Wally off his balance. As everyone is slowly being backed into a corner, Damien shouts to Mara, "How did you find us?" And she tells him that she happened to place a tracking device on Kid Flash over there. So by bringing everyone together, he created their own death trap. Damien tells her, "You're wrong. I created a team." And Mara says, "You had a team, but you just thought you were too good for them, right?" Starfire asks what she's talking about. So Mara takes off her mask, shouting that their Robin is one of us. He was supposed to lead the Demon's Fist, appointed by his own grandfather, Ra's al Ghul. As everyone tries to escape, Starfire says that she thought he was supposed to be the son of Batman. And Damien tells her, "That's a little complicated." Mara shouts that they're not getting away and presses a button, and suddenly the cave around them begins to explode, and Goliath grabs a hold of Damien and flies him away. As everyone watches, Raven creates a barrier to stop the falling rocks, and Beast Boy says, "So much for the new Teen Titans." But before the barrier can give away, Damien flies in a jet, telling everyone to get on. They all pause for a moment, and Damien asks, "What are you waiting for?" So Starfire tells him he's a typical person to trust. So Damien shouts, "Fine, no more secrets. I had a choice, either follow in the footsteps of the world's greatest crime lord or the world's greatest detective, and I chose Batman." What Damien doesn't tell them, though, is that long ago he trained as an assassin to lead Demon's Fist. However, one day he was challenged by his cousin Mara to take over. The two fought, but Damien easily overpowered her, telling her that she's just destined to have a history of failure. After that, though, Roz came to praise Damien for his victory, and Mara was bitter with defeat as she threw a knife at him and Roz. Damien caught the blade and threw it back, scarring her face, telling her that now, every time she looks in the mirror, she will be reminded that he will always be better than her. Back
I think that looks alright.
Putting the plane on autopilot,
Okay.
Damien tells
It's
everyone
like a pair of
to
shorts
move.
on that,
Talk to
David.
Kid Flash for a moment. Wally tries to explain that he's kind of new to this whole superhero thing, but his aunt is going to get worried and he has a chem test on Friday. So Damien tells everyone that the Demon's Fist will keep coming back until they're all dead. And they were found because of a tracker that Mara placed on Kid Flash. Wally tries to fight against it, telling him it is a load of bull. He would have known it, but Damien stops him, stating, "Found it." Wally tries to ask where it was, but as Damien pulls out a small claw, he tells him, "You don't want to know." And after removing the tracker, Wally says that if he ever runs fast enough to change history, that part is totally being erased. Starfire takes the tracker and crushes it, stating that they think of them as though they are property to be slaughtered. She'll be looking forward to correcting that mistake. As the aircraft lands, Damien tells everyone that they need to regroup and go from defense to offense. The Starfire corrects them. Regrouping would require them to be a group. They have not and will not be a group, so long as he keeps them in the Earth phrase, in the dark. Raven says that they are in the dark more ways than one, and then creates a bonfire for everyone to sit by. She then tells Robin that she did her part. Now it's time for him to do his. There is something that he wants to say, even though it isn't in his nature to reveal things. Damien pauses for a moment, and then says that Mara is his cousin, and what she said is true. He was supposed to lead the Demon's Fist, but no more. No matter how far he runs, the good that he does, it won't change the fact that he's just got some bad blood in him. Starfire tells him that he simply could have asked them for help. Damien says it's easier to beg for forgiveness than ask for permission. That, and he's still trying to figure out this whole how to be good thing. Starfire corrects him and telling him that he's the one that says their history is assigned to them, but they are the ones that decide their future. He is not his family, just as she is not her sister, Blackfire. Raven says the Demon's Fist chose them because of what they represent. Starfire represents light, Wally represents hope, and Beast Boy interrupts, stating that he represents super sexiness. Wally goes on. What they're all trying to state is that they all have baggage in one shape or another, but really, he couldn't think of anyone better to have in their corner than him. That, and he knows their enemy, which means he knows how to end this hunt and save their lives. Damien tells him that he's right, and he does. Everyone sits back around the campfire, and Damien heads off into the woods to tell Goliath that they are leaving. But as Damien rides on Goliath, Beast Boy watches and asks, where is he going? After a short flight, Damien lands on Infinity Island and tells Goliath to go on and leave. He's got to do this to protect his friend, the others. Damien walks over to Roz and tells him he wanted him back, so call up the hunt, and he will be his forever. Roz looks down at Damien and tells him, I once had pinned my hopes for a future on you, but you betrayed me. He then grabs Damien by the neck and pulls him inside, stating, there is much you must prove. Pain is to be earned. As the doors to the Citadel shut, Beast Boy says that of all the thousands of lenses on his eyes, he still can't believe what he just saw. As Roz drags Damien into the inner chambers, he puts him in front of the mirror of truth, asking if he is truly here to lead or bring Roz down. Damien looks in the mirror, and Roz asks, "What do you see?" Without saying a word, Damien says that he wants to be Batman. Damien looks back, stating he's here to serve so that he can spare the lives of the Teen Titans. So tell Mara to call off the hunt. And Roz asks, "Why would I do that when Mara is right here?" Mara and the rest of the Demon's Fist walk in, and Mara asks Damien if he remembers the cut that he gave her. The scar would serve as a reminder of her humiliation. Rather than bring her down, it made her push harder and train for this very moment. The moment where she cuts him. She swings her sword, but stops when Damien tells her, "Wrong. You won't be happy just killing me like this. So we have to have a trial by combat, and if I win, the hunt for the Teen Titans is off, and if I lose, well, I'll just die, and you'll know that you are meant to lead the league." Blake shouts, "What about them? This is supposed to be their hunt too," but Mara tells him to shut up. She's the leader, and they will do as she commands. Roz shouts, "This is wonderful. I, for one, would very much like to witness a trial by combat. So, you must prepare for your battle." Not long after, in the deeper parts of the island, Damien and Mara stand along a narrow path over a pit of lava. Mara tells him that he looks so alone over there. No mommy to protect him. No Batman to babysit him. No team of losers to back him up. That's why he came back, isn't it? Because he couldn't hack it on his own. As the two of them run at each other, Damien tells her that it would be a lot harder to insult him with a sword shoved down her throat. She begins to swing down towards Damien, forcing him to block. And after a few swings, Damien's sword flies upwards, hitting a stone on the ceiling. The stone breaks off and falls into the lava, sending bits of lava everywhere. Some of it hits Mara's mask, and in that moment of pain, Damien runs in, tackling her to the ground. He holds out his claws to her face, telling her, "It's over, I win." But Mara tells him, "Not unless you kill me." Damien calls out to Roz, asking if he saw that, because he just won. He's the champion, and he demands that. But Damien's words are stopped as Mara slams the same dagger that he used to cut her into his shoulder. He falls over, and Mara tells him that he's a sidekick at best. Those so-called friends are better off without him. After the battle, the rest of the Demon's Fist take Damien to his new cell. And Stone asks, what are they supposed to do about their targets anyway? Really, they're nothing but tools and servants. Blank begins to shift into Mara, mimicking her, stating, "Forget everyone else, Roz. Only look at me. Be proud of me. Blank grabs a fluttering bat, stating that Damien is not the only one who got stabbed in the back. They are all victims here. Maybe they would have been better off with Damien leading them and not Mara." Stone says, yeah. He was willing to die for his team, and now he's going to. As the door shuts, Damien looks at the diseased bat, stating that they're all pathetic. No one will mourn them when they're gone. And then there's a rattle at the door, and it flies off the hinges. As Damien turns, asking who's there, Beast Boy tells him, "Your friends!" Damien asks, "What the hell are you all doing here?" And Raven tells him, "You're welcome." Starfire leans down, stating that they came to help, and Wally says he's got to admit, "I like the way you look in those chains." Starfire then pops the chains off, stating that he should not have run away from them. And Damien tells her it was the only way that he could have saved them. "Wrong," she responds. "It's the only way that you could have saved them. But we're here to help each other." Damien starts to get up, and he grunts the pain of the stab wound in his back. So Raven tells him that she'll help. She'll transfer that pain onto herself so that he can heal more quickly. Starfire then tells Damien that she can also help. But he tells her to get away, and then he says he means he's fine. Wally asks what happened anyway, so Damien tells him that he got stabbed in the back by his cousin, which kind of runs in the family. As everyone leaves the cell, they start to notice the path that they took is now blocked. Damien reaches out to the wall, and then Stone reaches back, grabbing him. As another of the Demon's Fists come out, Damien tries to explain that they don't have to do this. None of them have a future here because Roz stole it from them. He goes on to tell each of them their history and how Roz took it away from them. There's no life to go back to because their parents all think of them as dead now. And a voice calls out that he is wrong. Roz shouts that he rescued them from their insignificance. He then shouts that they are all weak to have their enemy before them, and they sit there gossiping. Mara shouts to kill. Their master commands it, but no one moves, and Blank steps forward asking if it's true. Were her and her brother Blank really given up to serve their cause? Roz says that words are weapons. Sometimes they must faint. Other times they must cut. Wally decides to chime in at this point. You know, I'm pretty new to this whole thing, but it really sounds like regardless of what side the Demon's Fists are on, it's a losing side. And Raven says that she can sense that they all mean the world to each other. Together, they can shape their future. So Beast Boy shouts, "That's right! Don't listen to the Creeper Grandpa!" As the other Demon's Fist members decide not to fight, Roz jumps down with his sword, telling them, if that's the case, I will cut off the Demon's Fist. But just before he can strike down on Plague, Damien runs in, blocking the attack. All of the other League of Assassin members start to surround everyone. And as Beast Boy changes into a bull, he says he's not sure about anyone else, but this kind of made him horny. Blank changes into a bull as well, and he states that he's still tempted to kill Beast Boy just to shut him up. Nightstorm shouts that they will do this together, and he starts to blow everyone away. As everyone fights alongside their targets, all helping each other through the fights, out in front, Roz tells Damien that he's nothing more than genetic waste. Do you really think you can stop me? You couldn't even beat your own pathetic cousin Mara. You are just a group of worthless pawns in a chess game that we are playing. Damien pushes them back, shouting, we are not pawns. They are my friends. Titans, go! As everyone focuses their attention on Roz, Mara asks, what should she do? And Roz throws a smoke bomb down on the ground, telling her, you are weak and needy, just awaiting orders. You are as worthless as your father. Now come. Damien tells her that she doesn't have to go with him. There's still a chance for her to be her own person. Mara looks at him, and Roz grabs her before she can even answer, and the two disappear in the smoke. Once the fight ends, the Titans and the Demon Fist all gather around to say their goodbyes. And as they leave, Beast Boy tells them, see you later. Or not. That would totally be fine, actually. As they all stand there, Beast Boy then asks, now what? Damien begins to tell them that he thinks but then a voice stating, I think you have some explaining to do. Behind Damien, Batman steps out. And Damien asks, how did you know where we were? A second later, Goliath flies down licking Damien, and Batman asks, why didn't you call for help? Damien scoffs. Clearly, I didn't need it. Batman then looks at the jet that Damien stole, telling him, I see you made some modifications. And Damien corrects him. Improvements! In fact, I've been making a lot of those lately, not just with the jet. Batman looks over at the Titans and he asks, are you planning on calling them the Teen Titans? Damien tells him, yeah. And if you got a problem with that, but Batman stops him, telling him, no, actually. The team will need some supervision and guidance. No, we are serving under our own agenda. This is my life. Batman decides to tell him, fine. We can talk about this when we get back to Gotham. And Damien stops them again, stating, no, I'm not going back. Like how Grayson needed to find a place to call his own, I do too. So, what did you have in mind? 3 months later, Damien stands atop of a building, the Titans Tower. And a voice asks, what are you doing here? Damien says that he's thinking about the future, their future. And Starfire asks if it's okay if they join. She looks around and says that it's really bright up here. And Raven says that she's normally used to much gloomier places. This could work. Beast Boy then asks, should they call him Fearless Leader or Ruthless Overlord now? And Damien decides to tell them all to just leave it as a work in progress. There's one thing for certain, though. They're in this together. And that concludes the first story arc of the Teen Titans, 1 through 5. I personally actually really like this change out of the main superhero leader guy not being Tim anymore. Tim needs to move on to other things, which includes being dead in Detective Comics. Sorry if I spoiled that for you. It kind of happened a few months ago at this point. But anyway, Tim had to move on to bigger and better things over in Detective Comics, so we needed a place for Damien to call his own and for a group that he can lead. Now, I know this is kind of similar to the cartoon show, but they seemingly have made this group more reflect the movie version. Starfire is kind of not a teen, so it's kind of a weird fit, but hopefully overall, it's all going to come together in the end, because the Teen Titans are awesome, and we all love the Teen Titans. Anyway, don't forget to subscribe to this channel to keep up to date on the DC Rebirth, whatever's going on with it right now, because it's all weird and wonky, and you can follow me on Twitter and Instagram at ComicsStorian. I'll see you guys next time right here.
You will, but not for yet. Okay, so we've got the trousers on so far. Hopefully you can, I'll just give you a quick zoom up there. Again, they're like a little bit raggy. I'm keeping them a little bit raggy kind of trousers. So they look a bit torn or look a bit worn out. He's got a little sash on the back there like he does on the picture. Again, I'll show you the picture at a later date. But let's give you a quick zoom in there on the PS4 camera. And the sash and the trousers. That will need to be baked before I'm completely happy with it. But we've got to do the jacket. I was just quickly having a look at the sort of what I would do with the wings and where I would put them. I'm not sure if I should put the jacket on and then the wings, or put the wings on as I'm doing the jacket, or at least the frame for it, because I'm going to have to reattach this, attach the wings anyway. So I'm not sure what I should do. Kind of like umming and ahhing about it, where I should go with it. But anyway, let's get some ideas for the clothing. I'm going to put a hood, but again, I don't know if I should put the hood up or if I should put the hood down. It does normally have the hood up, but he also wears it down. So it all depends on how I really feel about it and how I'm going to do a hood, because a hood kind of like something like that, I suppose. I'd have to do the hood first if I was going to do the hood. I'm playing a lot of Assassin's Creed lately, so I'm trying to get ideas for like the way a hood would sort of sit on a head. And I'm kind of new to making clothing anyway. That kind of works. I still want the ears and things to be sort of showing. After what's the point of having ears? And that kind of works. That kind of works. So we'll have that. We'll do that. We'll do that. Okay, let's get some more comic story playing in the background. What should we have? A blue Beetle. Let's have some Flash. No, let's have some Flash.
What happens when the Flash runs out of time? Welcome to the Complete Story Series. We take trade paperbacks and single issues and we break them down into digestible bites so that we can read it dramatically back to you. All art is owned by its respective companies. Don't forget to support your local industry by buying online or at your local comic book store. 5 years from now, the Flash arrives at the scene of an accident where they're carrying Iris West away in an ambulance. The police captain tells Flash to back off because they haven't even ID'd the kid yet. And the Flash pauses. Kid? A teenager flatlined right after the EMT got here. The Flash takes off as the captain tells him, "You could have stopped this, Flash. Why weren't you here?" The Flash runs over to see Wally West dead on the street. We now come to the current day. The Flash is dealing with the aftermath from the events of Forever Evil and Daniel West, the Reverse Flash, being in prison. He feels weird, like he's losing time. And he's seeing a doctor because he wants to help everyone. Why can't he be that fast? Fast enough to save everyone. 20 years from now, Barry is in a blue Flash suit, and he's counting all of the years that he's lost. But he knows how to fix it now. He can make everything better. And as he looks at a newspaper clipping of the death of Wally West, he takes off to one more stop before he begins his journey. The graveyard. And Iris West rolls up to him in her wheelchair. "I wasn't expecting you here. Only a person who doesn't want to be seen sneaks into the cemetery at night." Staring down at Wally's gravestone, Flash tells her, "I'm the reason Wally isn't 32, married, and has 2 kids today. I'm the reason you're in that chair. I should have been there. Stop it. You don't get to do this. I made peace with my mistake a long time ago. Why do you even care?" "Iris, and the Flash removes his mask, revealing to her that he is Barry Allen. I loved him too, like he was my own." "Barry? No! All this time, the years we've spent together." "None of that matters, Iris. Time is running out. And I will fix this the only way that I know how." "No, don't you dare say that. Not to me. You know what those idiot notions did to Daniel. Even if you succeed, you won't come back the same." "I'm not coming back, Iris. Goodbye. I'm sorry for everything." And with that, the Flash takes off for Gorilla City. Sitting in the throne is Grodd, king of Gorilla City, eating the brains of Eobard Thawne from the 25th century. "The Speed Force is broken, Grodd. You can't ignore it. It fractured the first time Daniel West traveled through time, and we've made this worse. It's time I buried you for your actions against the Speed Force." And with that, the Flash charges into Grodd's back. Grodd gets up to his feet. "How often must we play this game, Flash? You either run away before I kill you, or you run away because you won't kill me. No more, Grodd. You use the time stream like your own personal smorgasbord, and I'm here to end that. You want to fight to the death? Then you've got it." He rockets in and sucker punches Grodd with the force of his speed. But Grodd also has the Speed Force at his disposal, and he manages to match Flash's speed, catching him and shoving him into a wall. At that moment, the Speed Force creates some form of feedback, throwing Grodd off the Flash. "You see what you've done? The Speed Force is the lifeblood of time itself, and it's bleeding out of us." The Flash then runs over to Grodd, and he slaps him on the side of the head. Grodd begins to come to his senses, and he hears a beeping in his ear. "What did you do?" "I put a micro bomb in your ear, and no matter how smart you get, you will still be a gorilla with fat gorilla fingers." And then Grodd's head explodes. The Flash walks over to his headless corpse. "Wish me luck. If I succeed, you won't need it to have been executed like this." And then he's gone, traveling through time to correct it finally. 16 years from now, the Flash re-enters the timeline, and he sees that he's made it to the right time and the right location. This is the time that Mirror Master was trying to rob a gala, and he's right
Adverts, come on.
V stands for value to investors.
In the building next to the Flash right now. Mirror Master begins taking a hostage and then demanding that everyone throw their valuables into the nearest mirror. But that's when the Flash arrives and he begins throwing the civilians into the mirrors. Mirror Master then jumps in the mirror to get away from Flash, but since Flash threw everyone in, he also threw the cops in, which hold up Mirror Master. So Mirror Master jumps out, leaving only him and Flash on the outside of the mirrors. The Flash then runs over, breaks Mirror Master's arm, taking his mirror gun, and he throws it through the mirror to one of the police officers. He then tells the police officer to wait 100 Mississippis and then come back out. Then turning back to Mirror Master, he tells him, "Your arm won't hurt much longer. I came to help you, Scudder. What you don't realize is there's about to be a freak earthquake that'll shatter all of these mirrors, and it would have killed 11 people here." Then as proof, the Flash holds up a newspaper clipping from the next day. "The people died here because I was late. I was losing time. But I'm going back now to prevent any of this from happening, to fix it all." And then the Flash takes off again, traveling through time, leaving Mirror Master there alone in the middle of all of the mirrors as the earthquake comes through, shattering them and killing him. 12 years from now, the Flash arrives at Captain Cold's bedside to be there when Captain Cold passes from bone cancer. This is another moment that he was late to, and he's felt guilty for it ever since. He has a seat next to his former enemy and his friend, and he explains that the Speed Force is broken, but he's here to fix it, to make up for all of those times that he lost, to save Wally. Remember when they let you join the Justice League with a full pardon? You have no idea how much that peeved me. You in the Justice League. I admire you for it now, though. You didn't care about the innocence you hurt or the life you left behind. You left all of that in the past. The Flash then looked up at the clock and saw that it was about time. So he took Leonard's hand, and just as Leonard woke up and shockingly saw the Flash there, the Flash responded with, "I'm here, Leonard. You and me in the end." And with tears coming down his face, the Flash closed Leonard's eyes. And then he ran to his next stop. 7 years from now, the Flash runs through the city at top speed, grabbing the Trickster while he's in his civilian clothes, and he brings him to the top of the building, where he holds him off of it. You're about to drop robots that you invented that are made from rolled up coins in a bank vault, and it's going to try and steal that vault. You made a mistake, Flash. You should have grabbed me after I dropped them off. And just then the coin robots begin to attack the Flash. So he drops the Trickster off the side of the building, allowing the Flash to defend himself. As the Flash is fighting them, though, the robots take off to the side of the building to catch their master. The Flash then races down the side of the building. It won't be that easy, Trickster, and he destroys every one of the robots, allowing the Trickster to continue to fall. "I'm ready to die, Axel. Are you?" And then the Trickster screams, "I don't want to die!" Attaboy, Axel. And with that, the Flash creates a tornado to carry him and the Trickster down safely. The vault you were going to lift was going to be dropped on a mother, a father, and their 1-month-old baby. And then you committed suicide shortly after. If you ever think about going back to crime, look at this newspaper article and remember. The Flash then throws the newspaper article down to the Trickster, and he takes off into the time stream, leaving the Trickster right there again. Confused, the Trickster looks at the newspaper article. 5 years from now, the event that started all of this, the day that Wally West died. The Reverse Flash is running through the city looking for the present-day Flash, screaming, "Come out of hiding, Flash!" But the Blue Flash grabs him by the throat. "This ends now, Daniel." "How are you so strong?" Daniel says as he tries to break free. "I'm not the Flash that you remember, and I'm going to stop you from killing your nephew and putting your sister in a wheelchair. Wally and Iris have nothing to do with this. I escaped Iron Heights to take you down. You caused more damage than you thought, and Iris thought that she could talk you down, so she was driving over to stop you, but you damaged the road, and their car was about to flip over. They were so desperate to help you that they never even put on their seatbelts. Let me go! I can save them!"
Popular one, that's why there's lots of adverts. Sorry, guys.
No, I'm here now, and I get to be the hero, Daniel. And with that, Blue Flash breaks Daniel's neck. He then runs over to Iris and Wally's car, pulling them out of the car as it flips over. Iris then sees Daniel dead on the ground and realizes that the Flash just killed him. "Get away from him, Wally!" "No, you don't understand." But as Blue Flash is trying to explain, the Flash from the current day arrives, the one in the red costume. Iris and Wally are super confused, but the Flash grabs the Blue Flash thinking that it's Daniel in a new costume. So the Blue Flash removes his mask, showing everyone that it's a
Okay, there's some clothing.
How is this possible? The Speed Force is damaged because of me. I let too many people
I'll give him a
power
proper sash
and
now.
Daniel and Grodd abused it. The wound in the Speed Force is why we're losing time, Barry. And the only solution is to travel back to the point when the wound was at its smallest and seal it. In order to accomplish that,
and
it looks like I'm going to have to go through you.
hooded
Blue
jacket.
Flash punches Red Flash
Oh,
with his full strength, throwing him back. The unstable levels of the Speed Force throw them both back with a giant feedback explosion. With blue and red lightning going off all around them, the Blue Flash grabs the Red Flash and gets ready to end this. So the Red Flash figures, if his future self is going to end this, he has nothing left to lose. And he grabs the Blue Flash's symbol on his chest, and he holds onto it tight, forcing the Speed Force feedback to strike them both with full force. But at that exact moment, Wally comes over to see if he can help, and he gets struck by the Speed Force feedback. The explosion is huge, leaving a crater on the ground, and the Red Flash is left bleeding out on the ground while the Blue Flash is nowhere to be found. Wally runs over using his new super speed, and he's shocked that he is now officially a speedster. And as the Red Flash dies in Wally's arms, he tells Wally to train and find the Blue Flash in the time stream so that he can end this. With lightning pouring from his eyes, Wally tells Barry he swears he'll stop that twisted version of it. And now we're at current day, which is where the Blue Flash has been thrown to. Before everything, when the time slipping first started, he takes off for his former house and he grabs the current day Flash while he's making breakfast and he carries him out of the house. They go at lightning speeds to the Salt Flats, where Daniel first came crashing out of the mirror world and became the Reverse Flash, where this all started. Blue Flash explains that when the monorail that gave Daniel his powers crashed here, it punctured the Speed Force, and then he went back in time, not knowing what he was doing.
I might have to do the sash in another time, guys.
10 minutes behind already. Every time you tap into this...
Stay tuned, got it in your mouth. I might have to do the sash and other parts of this at another time, because if I start putting extra bits on this now and start playing with it, it's going to get very soft. Well, it's very soft as it is. I can kind of mold this as I'm going, but it's going to be a bit too soft if I start putting extra bits on there now. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to bake it again, and I'll come back maybe tomorrow, do this live. But I am recording this on the PS4, so I will upload the edited version for the better quality vision, so you can see a lot more what I did, and you can see it in a better way. Yeah, I think I'm gonna have to bake this now. Hopefully you have enjoyed this video. Hopefully you've enjoyed Comic Story in the background. If you're new to the channel, do not forget to hit that subscribe button. Ding that bell for notifications on next time for when I'll be uploading and when I'll be going live. Otherwise, guys, I'll see you later on for some more games if our PS4 decides it's going to work properly. We had a little bit of problems on Storytime Sunday. They should have been fixed, but you won't find out until tonight. Tune in, hit that subscribe, and click the links that will appear if you're watching back. Thanks for watching. Bye for now.